everybody, welcome back to Storytime with Alex, reading Supernatural Night Terror by John Passarella. Back to just recording it on my usual camera. Do I like it better? Does it make any difference? Probably not. We're up to chapter 30, which is super short chapter. They've killed the Nazi zombies, but they keep regenerating. The nocnitsa is getting stronger. She's feeding off a 14-year-old boy at the moment, so that's giving her loads of power because he has that energy. They've killed Sophie Bizet, so now Dean is fully on the warpath. Chapter 30. The life energy of the 14-year-old boy flowed into the nocnitsa. While Trevor Dietz slept hunched over his desk, she perched on his back and shoulders like a bird of prey. But instead of plucking his eyes from their sockets, she wrapped the elongated fingers of her hands around his forehead and snatched the nightmare images from his mind and gave them shape in the real world. And all the while his energy flowed into her, giving her shadowy body form and substance and heightening her powers. Those within her sphere of influence, which encompassed the whole town, bled fear into the air. Their night terror would take shape and plague them, a vicious circle of darkness from which none would escape. Soon she wouldn't need to feed directly from them to become more powerful. She would reach into any mind she chose and unspool the darkness within. Their power would flow to her, first one to one, then many to one, until only shriveled husks remained. As she absorbed more power from the boy, his body trembled beneath her gripping hands and feet, resisting the draw and failing. In a few moments his legs jittered up and down and his head bucked, thumping repeatedly against the books and papers piled on his desk. His mind was attempting to throw off the psychic yoke, to rouse him from the dream state which fed her, but she was too powerful now, and the energy was so delicious. Sam watched Dean behind the wheel out of the corner of his eye. His brother hadn't known Sophie Bizet long, but he was taking her loss hard. He knew that Dean felt guilty, that he felt he'd broken his promise to keep her safe. Couple that with abandoning the zombie battle and having no idea how to locate the nocnitsa, and the night was adding up to one big loss. But they had no choice but to leave. The battle couldn't be won because the deck was stacked against them. Sooner or later they would fall to the regenerating zombies and the war would be lost as well. The only way to win the night was to attack the night hag directly. As they neared the diner, several fire trucks roared past, horns blaring and emergency lights pulsing, followed by 2 ambulances with wailing sirens. Judging from the names on the side of the emergency vehicles, assistance was arriving from nearby towns. No matter which direction Sam looked, he could spot 1 or 2 house fires burning. In light of the garment factory tragedy and its human cost, Sam imagined a lot of the town's residents had nightmares about fire. The parking lot of CJ's diner was at half capacity. Alarmed faces stared out the windows rather than at their plates or dining companions. Parked in the walking lane near the diner's entrance was the police chief's cruiser. Sam guessed the man was checking on his daughter and couldn't blame him. The rhythmic thumping of helicopters reached a crescendo overhead, then faded as they angled towards distant fires and their blinking lights receded into the night sky. Medical choppers, Sam noted. Or press, Dean said cynically. Dean paused on the metal stairs leading up to the diner's front entrance and pointed downward. Sam looked and saw the spots. Blood. They entered the diner and angled towards the booth where they'd left Lucy Quinn. Sitting opposite her was Millie, the polite receptionist, and a distinguished-looking man with silver hair wearing a white dress shirt under a charcoal grey suit jacket. "Is that Dr. Gruesome?" Theme said. "Cleans up well." Standing in front of the booth, cradling his left arm, Chief Quinn was talking urgently to his daughter. When Sam reached the man's side, he saw the problem with his arm and indicated the wound to Dean with a slight nod of his head. The dark sleeve of the chief's uniform shirt was torn to shreds at the forearm and soaked with blood. Through the gaps in the cloth, Sam saw the man's flesh had been ravaged by deep, jagged lacerations. Bite wounds. "What happened?" Sam asked. From the dark look Dean gave him, Sam knew he was wondering which of them would have to put the chief down before he became one of the undead. "Wolf bit me," Quinn said, "right outside the municipal building. I put it down, but not before he took a chunk out of my arm and nearly knocked me senseless." "You'll need rabies shots," Dean said, with relief in his voice. "I'll have its brain tissue tested. Did you wound it or kill it?" "Gunshot," Quinn said. "If it wasn't dead when I left it, it is now." "The dead wolves vanished," Dean said. "Nothing to test. Besides, testing would be a waste of time. They're all rabid." "You've seen more of these wolves?" "Killed or maimed 7 on Arcadia," Sam said. "All rabid." "How can you know?" "Because," Joseph Weicherek said. "I've seen the movie." "You too?" Chief Quinn asked Weicherek, shaking his head in disbelief. "Dad, whether you want to believe it or not," Lucy said impatiently, "weird stuff is really happening." "I don't know how any of this is happening," Quinn said, "but I know when I need help. I've asked the governor to mobilize the National Guard." "How long?" Sam asked. "Day, maybe 2. Sam exchanged a look with Dean. "Not soon enough." Quinn squeezed Lucy's shoulder with his good hand and kissed her on the cheek. "Stay here," he said. "You need an escort home? Call me." "Okay, Dad. Be careful." Chief Quinn nodded gravely to Sam and Dean, almost as if he were putting his daughter in their care, and walked towards the exit. "Rabies shots!" Dean called after him. Quinn nodded before he left. One way or another, the man would get treated for rabies. If the animal isn't caught and tested, you get the shots as soon as possible, because the prospect of contracting rabies is too terrible. Assuming he survived the night. Assuming the town survived the night. At the moment, the odds weren't looking good. And that is the end of chapter 30, which, as I said, is a very short one. There's only 3 chapters left. Oh my god! But now they're all at CJ's diner, and they've got all the records of emergency calls over the last few nights, so let's see if they can work out where the nocnitsa is and stop her before everybody else dies.